was in this project to make an animal that has fins that would unfold and fold and bend, and the bones should also have like a volume so that it looks realistic. And I combined a lot of tutorials that I saw and some of my own thoughts. And it's quite easy to control. You just need one control bones to control all the rotations of the fins. Firstly, start with the basic shape of the fin from a circle, and then just scale it, delete some faces, slide some points inward. And I rotate it to the edge, so one side is bigger and one side is tilting down. And I give the pointy tip vertex crease so it's more sharp. And now move on to the armature. Start with a single bone and then align it with where our first fin bone structure should be. And I extruded another bone on the z-axis as our control bone. Clear the parent and then I put it in the middle. And then in the pose mode, add the copy rotation constraint to copy the rotation of the control bone to our deformed bones. Set everything to local space and keep the influence a little bit lower than 1. Copy to the other bone. The tip bone is rotating too much, so let's lower the influence. Add some bendy bone segments so that it's more smooth. And then into edit mode, duplicate the bones. I find one bone for one real fin bone structure works the best in the end. Quickly align the joints to the mesh. Now we can see how they all rotate together because everything is also copied with the constraint. And the bones shouldn't penetrate the body underneath, so lower the influence accordingly. I changed the viewport display to bendy bone so that it can be seen a bit better. Firstly, adjust the influence of the bones that are closer to the body. And then the ones on the top. The top one, sometimes you would actually want it to go the other way, so you can invert the x-axis. Like what I did to this one here. When everything is aligned okay, go back to the mesh, give it a little bit more geometry, and then select where the bones should be. Put them in a new vertex group. And now parent the mesh to the armature with automatic weights. should work pretty okay. And now to give the bones on the fin some thickness and body to make it look more realistic, let's add a geometry node. This is the best way I found to preserve the influence from the armature. If you do it with skin modifier, and the fin and the bones would be separated. So select our bones vertices and then duplicate them, put them in a new group so that they're separated from our original mesh. Join the original mesh to it and select the groups that we just made. And we can make it by mesh to curve and then curve to mesh. Profile curve, I give a simple circle. But now the thickness of the bone is unified. Put in a spline parameter to drive the scale. And now it's pointy. Maybe it's too pointed, so add a little bit of number so that it doesn't go all the way to 0. And give it another subdivision after the geometry node. I also don't want it to look so flat, so give it a displacement. And the coordinates should be UV so that when the fin moves, the displacement also moves with it. But our geometry node doesn't have a UV, so it's penetrating our mesh. So let's exclude it from the displacement. Select the bone vertices on the mesh and also separate it from the mesh, and then invert the selection, put them in a new selection for the displays. And now everything should be aligned. Put the controlling bone in a separate collection so the other ones can be hidden. And you can also do another set of constraint for the rotation from left to right instead of just front to back.